to acknowledge that this tectonic shift is here to stay and act with urgency. When I was a schoolgirl in Estonia, before anyone had mobile phones in their pocket, many schools used the bell system to tell you the time. The first bell was a signal to go to the class, the second bell was a warning, and the third bell meant that you were late and there would be consequences. We are now dangerously close to the third bell. Before that third bell actually rings, we need to inject a sense of urgency into our efforts in 4 areas. The first, and arguably most important of these, is defense. We need the capabilities to deter and defend. You all know the diagnosis. There is lack of complementarity of capabilities in Europe. We are too focused on national interest to tackle fragmentation in a serious way. Fragmentation makes us slow. It makes us weak. We need to change the culture away from thinking like nations towards acting jointly as Europeans. In areas including investment, development, procurement, maintenance, training, the full circle. Our defence spending is rising, which is good, but Europe lacks a number of strategic enablers, which are often too costly or complex for any one single member state to develop alone. So it is not only about how much we spend, but whether we spend it wisely and to maximum effect. We must also strike the right balance between innovation and traditional systems. Warfare is evolving fast. Capabilities that are used today might be outdated tomorrow. We need to put our militaries in a position of strength. Or put simply, we must be able to win the fight tonight and be ready tomorrow. Fortunately, there is no shortage of ideas of how to address each of these. And we have already made a lot of progress. Just think, white paper, the defence readiness roadmap, 9 capability targets, priorities led by the member states. But addressing the capability shortfalls also means posing some rather tricky questions. What geopolitical role do we want Europe and the EU to play? Can we identify a set of European NATO capability targets for which the EU can then support the development? Could we also think about establishing EU military capabilities that would be financed and owned by the member states? These and other sensitive subjects require political debate and action. The second priority area for action is defence industry. Here, quite a lot is happening. We are already setting the conditions for the industry to flourish, and I'm sure that my good colleague Andrius Kubilius will address these in details in a few minutes when he speaks. But here I will just flag that what we see is a slow-motion ramp-up. There is a long list of areas where we are already acting, but where there is an urgent need to do more in order to reach a turning point. We need to fill our gaps first and foremost, but we also need to stand before another huge task, to support Ukraine with €60 billion in military aid for 2026 and 2027, and ensure Ukraine gets the capabilities it needs and gets them fast. For this, European industry must simply deliver. And why? Because otherwise the money will go abroad to those industries who can. This is a European moment to show what it can do. Get ready to accept the challenge. I'm speaking here of adapting our defence industrial base to better support the defence of Europe with critical mass, economies of scale and deeper cross-border cooperation, of security of supply, of cross-border cooperation, as well as collaboration between primes on the one hand and small and medium enterprises on the other, of a greater sense of responsibility among industrial stakeholders for security and defence of our continent. There is also a need for more innovation, entrepreneurship and private financing. It is the EU's task to prepare the ground and to create the conditions, but it is the industry's task to deliver.